Hello guys, this is Ian, aka Shiro, and I am going to show you the build that me and B use um, for our Hunter Fighter class. I'm going to just be abbreviating names of people for security's sake, so if you hear B or C and wonder what the hell that is, you'll probably figure out if you just talk in the group. Just talk in team chat and I'll be sure to point you in the right direction. Just the managers. So, basically starting off, we have my Hunter build. Now, this is incomplete because I am not 60-60 yet, I am 52-60. But I know exactly what you should be doing here. So, on Hunter, what the biggest point of the Hunter skill tree is this left column here. What these skills do over here is they multiply your damage. Every single one of them. So, before you really... Not before. What the ultimate goal is to max this left column here. These ones are... Well, the gears are optional, because partisans are weak. And I almost never use wired lances, so I couldn't tell you. They don't seem super strong to me, but I'm probably using them wrong. These two are... That would be great if we had more points, but the idea is we want these first to 10. Or we want all of these to 10, because they give us the most for what we can get. So starting off, you just put 5 in HP boost to unlock this tree, and you could gradually fill it at your own pace. You're going to want to put 3 in your guard stance, get that, and get all the way to sword gear, because if you're a hunter as a main class, there's like a 99% chance you're using mostly swords, and you're going to be doing overend a lot, and this really helps with the damage and the range of overend. You'll notice it. I know I have. Over here, because we're going HuFi and not Fi-Hu, we're going to put 1 into Rare Mastery Hunter for that plus 30 bonus down here. And the reason we only put 1 is because after you put 1 point in there, the difference goes up by like 5, and you're just wasting points at that point. As opposed to what you could do with them otherwise. So over here, it's optional, but I highly recommend you get to Just Guard, because at Just Guard, you can totally nullify damage if you learn how to block right. I can tell you from experience, it's a pain in the ass to get used to blocking all the time, but it can certainly save your ass, especially on bosses like Courts that for some reason I find almost impossible. If you ask B, he will tell you that it is extremely easy once you learn how to use Just Guard right. And over here, you'll notice I only have 2 in Step Advance on this class. And the reason being, B found a way to maximize your duration. You'd get the same effect as level 10, only using 5 total skill points, but across 2 classes. So when we put 2 in here on Hunter, it gives us up to 0.9, which is like the biggest increment you can get. It's like, per point, it's the most time, the most duration. So then when we go over to our fighter build, because, well, this whole build is pretty straightforward, you'll see that we have 3 in it over here, because at 3 you have 0.11 plus the 0.09 gives you the 0.20 that, showing you here on my other tree, that level 10 would give. And we only used a total of 5 points. So, what you're going to want to do here is focus on your stances. The reason I have mine to 10, the stances themselves, is because, I plan to eventually maybe use Fighter as a subclass for Force or something. and these stances are really going to help you. But I think for B's build, you focus on 5 on the stances themselves, then Wise S up, Brave S up. You want a 10-10 like this. And then S attack boost you want to go for. Chase advance you probably want, especially if you play with forces, because they're going to be putting those status effects on enemies all the time. And that's, I mean, why not have the extra damage there? You don't even have to do anything special for that one. Unlike with Hunter's damage boost, you have to be getting those just attacks. Which brings me to another point. As HuFi, it is incredibly imperative that you get just attacks with almost every attack. Like, if you're not doing just attacks, you're just wasting moves. Not that you can't do it without it, it's just not as effective. It's kind of a dumb way of doing things. So once you have Chase Advance, you can put 1 into Chase Bind if you want. I just did it because I don't really see anywhere else where that 1 point would maybe matter, except I guess I could throw it into S Attack Boost 1 if you really care that much. What you're going to want to do, though, is avoid T-Dagger gear and Knuckles gear. I don't know if B has them, but to me, those are just useless, because both of those things are... Twin Daggers and Knuckles are pretty much the most useless items in the game. They're far too weak to matter, and if you're using them, they have like a really specific use, and they're not the best thing you could do at that point anyway. So, moving on over to this side, the double saber gear is also kind of an optional thing. So that's 3 points you don't have to spend there. For me, that would be 2 points I could have thrown back into S Attack Up 1, or S Attack Boost 1. But, you know, it doesn't really matter. We don't want to invest in Rare Mastery Fighter here, because if you're playing Fighter as your main class, it's hopefully only because you don't have it at level 60 yet. Once you have Fighter at level 60, it should never be your main class again. Well, in my opinion, because it's just not that effective. And you're not going to need this thing, because it's not going to apply. Over here, I explained when we had the 310 here. You're going to want your step attack and your just reversal. For step attack, it's because the only use of twin daggers is not for fighting, but rather for doing the triple dash to move across the field pretty quickly. And for that, you're going to need step attack, and you will get very used to that very quick, because it feels like it saves a ton of time. You know, you just get used to doing it, and it's kind of aggravating to do it, to try to play without it. Just reversal, if you fight, say, like the Banthers and Banshees, you're going to spend a lot of time on the ground, probably, if you're not blocking right. And that's why you're going to want this, because, you know, you get hit, you jump, and you're not on the ground for like 5 seconds. And it saves you that whole headache. But this is the gist of what you want. In terms of Braver, we have not really figured out exactly what everything does yet. So we can't really come up with a build, but it looks, from the looks of things, you can have some pretty interesting combinations here, subbing Hunter rather than Fighter, because Hunter gives you all that striking bonus. I mean, unless you're gonna go with the bow route, in which case you may want like Ranger or something. But for our purposes, because me and B are melee guys, almost exclusively, we're going to be doing like Braver Hunter, Braver Fighter, that sort of stuff. But once we figure out more behind everything here, we will post a build and let you guys know. The stat creator that I'm going to actually post a link for, it's a stat simulator. I'm going to post a link for B's build, so you can see straight up where to allocate without having to listen to me. And I will tell you it is a little bit different, because there's a bunch of stuff that you can kind of change around, like I said. When we come up with one for this and that updates for this, we'll figure it out and we'll post it. Right now, that's all I got for you guys. So if you want to see Force or Ranger, I think those are also posted in the forums by C or P. So you're gonna have to go find those elsewhere. I don't think they're gonna be making video stuff. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys.